A police deputy walks alone into a burning forest, thinking he is about to find a crashed plane. But there is no plane. There is no pilot. There is only a strange sound moving through the trees, and something he cannot see rushing straight toward him. Deputy Wright had been the first officer to reach the woods outside Townsend, Wisconsin, after a mysterious object dropped out of the sky and slammed into the forest. From a distance, it looked like a normal emergency. Smoke, flames, and a possible crash site. He calls it in and asks for fire crews, but his radio keeps cutting out. So Wright does the worst thing a person can do in a story like this. He goes in alone. The deeper he walks, the stranger the forest becomes. The flames are real, but the danger is not coming from the fire. A high-pitched noise cuts through the air. Something invisible tears through the trees with impossible speed. Wright aims his flashlight, calls out, and then the thing hits him. A white flash fills the woods, and just like that, he is gone. Far away, inside a U.S. space surveillance center, military officers are staring at radar data that makes no sense. An object entered American airspace, moved in ways no known aircraft could manage, then dropped near Townsend. A younger officer prepares to report it as an aircraft crash, but Colonel Henderson shuts that down immediately. To everyone else, this will be called a meteor. The strange movement on the screen, equipment failure, the crash, nothing important. But the moment Henderson is alone, his real tone changes. He picks up the phone and tells command they have a confirmed fallen angel. Then he orders Operation Falcon to begin. In simple words, this is not a rescue mission. This is a cleanup. Soon, the entire town is being evacuated under the excuse of a toxic chemical spill. People are pushed out of their homes, roads are blocked, and the woods are surrounded by military personnel. Whatever came down in that forest, the government wants it erased before anyone can prove it was ever there. That is where Fox Mulder enters the story. Mulder is an FBI agent who works on the X-Files. Strange cases involving aliens, monsters, paranormal events, and every truth the government would rather bury. He is brilliant, reckless, and obsessed with finding proof. His partner Dana Scully is also an FBI agent, but she is a doctor and a scientist. Her job is to keep him grounded, question his wild theories, and make sure he does not destroy his own career chasing shadows. But this time, Mulder does not even wait for an official case. His secret source, known only as Deep Throat, warns him that Henderson is part of a government recovery unit. Whenever something unknown falls from the sky, Henderson's people arrive, remove the evidence, and leave behind a clean official story. Deep Throat tells Mulder that within 24 hours, there may be nothing left to find. So Mulder goes to Wisconsin alone. No backup, no warrant, no permission. Just a camera, a flashlight, and enough curiosity to ruin his life. At night, he slips past the security perimeter and sneaks into the crash zone by hiding underneath a military jeep. Inside the restricted area, the place looks less like a forest and more like a war zone. Soldiers in protective suits spray chemicals over the ground. Bright lights cut through the smoke. And in the middle of the destruction, Mulder sees it. A triangular shape buried in the earth. Not a meteor, not a fighter jet. Something else. He raises his camera and starts taking pictures, but before he can get away, a guard catches him and knocks him down. When Mulder wakes up, he is no longer an investigator. He is a prisoner. Henderson questions him and calmly explains that he has violated a federal quarantine. Mulder is told to forget everything he thinks he saw. Of course, telling Mulder to forget a UFO is like telling fire not to be hot. He is thrown into a detention cage, and there he meets one of the strangest people in the episode, Max Fenig. Max is a nervous, excited UFO researcher from NICAP, a group that tracks alien sightings and government cover-ups. He was also caught near the crash site, but unlike Mulder, he never got close enough to see anything. Still, he is thrilled to meet someone from the X-Files world. The next morning, Scully arrives to get Mulder out, but she is not happy. She tells him Section Chief McGrath is furious. Mulder has gone off the books, walked into a military operation, and given their enemies the perfect excuse to shut down the X-Files. According to Scully, McGrath is not just angry. He is considering removing Mulder from the FBI completely. Then she gives him the official explanation. The object in the woods was supposedly a downed Libyan fighter jet carrying a nuclear warhead. Mulder almost laughs because the story makes no sense. A Libyan jet secretly flying into Wisconsin with a nuclear weapon sounds less like national security and more like someone making up a lie under pressure. And while Mulder and Scully argue, the real problem is already moving. Back in the woods, the invisible entity is trapped behind a military laser fence. It cannot be seen, but the air bends around it, like space itself is being pushed out of shape. For a moment, the barrier holds it back. Then it forces its way through. Now the thing from the crash is outside the perimeter. Mulder checks into a motel, determined to keep investigating, even though Scully reminds him he has a dismissal hearing the next morning. But when they reach his room, they find it has been ransacked. The intruder tries to escape through the bathroom window. It is Max. Scully pulls her weapon, but Mulder stops her. Max is not there to hurt them. He is searching for evidence, and once he realizes who Mulder is, he gets almost starstruck. He knows Mulder's work, even the articles Mulder wrote under fake names. To Max, Mulder is not just an FBI agent. He is proof that someone inside the system still cares about the truth. Max takes them to his Airstream trailer, and the place looks like a UFO museum built by a man who has not slept properly in years. There are files, gadgets, scanners, recordings, and emergency radio equipment everywhere. Scully also notices medicine bottles for seizures and mental health issues, which makes her view Max more carefully. Max plays them a recording from the night of the crash. First, they hear Deputy Wright calling in the strange impact. Then, later, they hear emergency responders requesting a medevac for someone badly burned. The crew sounds confused, then frightened. Then the recording cuts out. Something happened in those woods, and the government took control before anyone could ask the right questions. Mulder and Scully visit the temporary shelter where the evacuated townspeople are being held. They speak with Mrs. Wright, the deputy's widow. She is angry and terrified because the government will not let her see her husband's body. Even worse, she says they warned her not to talk. If she does, they may take away his pension. So now the cover-up is not just hiding evidence. It is threatening ordinary families into silence. At the same time, Henderson's soldiers are hunting the escaped entity. Their sensors pick up movement in the southwest quadrant. Henderson orders them to surround it and take it down. The soldiers move in fully armed, but they are fighting something they cannot even see. The high-pitched sound returns. The air distorts. Then the invisible force charges through them. Weapons are useless. Training is useless. In seconds, the entire team is thrown into chaos, and the forest flashes white again. Mulder and Scully head to the emergency room where Wright and the fire crew were first taken. They try to speak with Dr. Oppenheimer, but he refuses at first. He is clearly scared. Mulder asks the right question. How did they threaten him? That breaks him. The doctor admits the bodies showed burns that looked like exposure to ionizing radiation. Before any proper autopsy could happen, the government removed them. Scully points out that radiation burns could support the nuclear warhead story, but Mulder says the same kind of injuries have appeared around other UFO crash cases. Then Henderson's injured soldiers are brought into the hospital. Now, the pattern is impossible to ignore. These men were not hurt by a chemical spill. They were not hurt by a normal weapon. They were hurt while chasing the thing that escaped the crash. Mulder confronts Henderson and tells him the obvious. Henderson is trying to destroy the entity, so the entity is defending itself. If Henderson keeps treating it like a target, more people will suffer. Henderson does not care. He orders Mulder removed, but Dr. Oppenheimer pushes back and asks Scully to stay because she is a medical doctor. This gives Scully a closer look at the victims, while Mulder returns to Max. When Mulder reaches the trailer, he finds Max on the floor, shaking from a seizure. Mulder helps him until it passes. Max says this is the first episode he has had in 7 years. He explains that the seizures began when he was 10, but he never understood why. Sometimes he would wake up in places with no memory of how he got there. While helping him lie down, Mulder notices a scar behind Max's ear. That small mark changes everything. Mulder starts searching old X-Files records and finds 2 women living thousands of miles apart who had the same scar. Both claimed they had been abducted. To Mulder, this means Max is not just a random UFO fan who got unlucky. Max may have been taken before. Scully is not convinced. She saw the medication in Max's trailer, and to her this could be a mix of seizures, delusion, and obsession. But Mulder sees something more tragic. Max may have spent his life chasing UFOs without understanding that the mystery was already part of him. Then the sky changes again. At the surveillance center, the radar team detects another object over Townsend. This one larger than the first. Officially, they are told to call it a meteor, but even the officers know that is a joke now. Something is hovering above the town. And below, inside Max's trailer, the invisible entity arrives. Max begins bleeding from his ear. A white flash fills the trailer. When Mulder and Scully stop by on their way to the airport, Max is gone. There is blood on his pillow, and the radios are alive with military chatter. A report comes in about an unidentified trespasser near the waterfront. Mulder and Scully follow the signal. At the docks, 2 military police officers find Max first and move in to capture him. Henderson warns his men to be careful because their target is close. He is right. By the time Mulder and Scully arrive, the officers have already been struck. Max is inside a warehouse, terrified, yelling for them to stop. Mulder goes in after him. while Scully is taken to Henderson. She tries to explain that Max is a frightened, unstable man, not an enemy combatant. She urges Henderson not to use force, but the military scanners show something strange. Inside the warehouse, they detect 3 figures: Mulder, Max, and something else. Henderson's men prepare explosives around the building. They are done waiting. If they cannot capture the entity, they will storm the warehouse. Inside, Max is breaking down. He keeps repeating that they are going to take him again. For him, this is not a theory anymore. This is a nightmare returning from childhood. Mulder tries to calm him, but then the invisible entity attacks. Mulder is thrown across the room. He struggles to look up and sees something impossible. Max is floating in a beam of bright light. He is suspended in the air, silent and helpless, as if the sky itself has reached down to collect him. Mulder can only watch as Max rises higher. Then there is a massive flash. Max disappears. A scanner outside now detects only 1 person inside the building. Henderson orders the team to break in, but it is already too late. Mulder picks up Max's nightcap hat and tells Henderson the truth in the only way he can. Max is gone. The aliens reached him first, and Henderson, with all his soldiers, weapons, and secret orders, was outsmarted by the very thing he tried to bury. Back at FBI headquarters, Scully is questioned by Section Chief McGrath. She tries to defend Mulder without lying, but the facts look terrible. Mulder broke protocol, entered a restricted area, ignored orders, and chased a case the government insists does not exist. Mulder, strangely, seems almost calm. He knows this hearing could end his career, but he also knows what he saw. McGrath accuses him of misconduct and says he exposed himself and others to dangerous materials during a toxic incident. Mulder refuses to play along. He argues that more than a dozen men were lost because the government was more interested in covering up the truth than handling the situation properly. Then, McGrath reveals Henderson's final lie. According to the official report, Max's body was found in a cargo container. Mulder knows that is impossible. He saw Max vanish in the light. But how can he fight a lie once it has a government stamp on it? He stands up and says they can deny everything for now, but not forever, because no agency, no uniform, and no official report can own the truth. For a moment, it seems the X-Files are finished. McGrath has every reason to shut the division down and remove Mulder. But behind the scenes, Deep Throat steps in and quietly vetoes the decision. McGrath is furious and asks why. Deep Throat gives him the real reason. If they fire Mulder, he may start talking to the wrong people. Keeping him inside the FBI is safer than letting him become a free man with too many questions. In other words, Mulder survives not because they trust him, but because they fear what he might do if they push him too far. And that is the dark joke at the heart of this case. The government can clear a crash site, silence witnesses, fake reports, and erase bodies from the record, but it still cannot erase Mulder's obsession. The X-Files stay open. Max is gone. And somewhere above Earth, the truth is still moving just out of reach.